your project today is a weaving project, and we're weaving with paper. You can find this project on page 316 of your textbook. Now for this project, you will need the following supplies. You will need some construction paper, or you may want to have some variation of paper. Scrapbook paper is something that's really nice to have to give you some variety. You can really use any type of paper, and you will see how you will be able to incorporate this in just a few moments. You will also need some scissors, and just regular scissors work, but if you have some of the craft scissors that have the zigzags, the different designs, those are always nice to use for some variation. You will need a pencil, maybe a marker would help, and also some glue. So we're going to be using construction paper to begin with. This is an activity that any age child can do. Of course, with the younger ones, there will have to be more hands-on help, but it's a great motor skill development activity. Children learn the process of over, under, or in and out, and that's really a difficult process for many children to learn. Also, they can learn to use rulers and learn to measure, and also using some of their cutting skills in this project. So to begin with, take your sheet of construction paper and you're going to fold it in half. And years ago, one of my students called this the hamburger fold, and we kind of made fun of them. But if you're talking with students, sometimes this is a really easy way to show how to explain what type of fold it is. A hamburger fold is kind of that fat fold, and of course obviously if you fold it the other direction you're going to have a hot dog fold. But you're going to take a hamburger fold and take your paper, can be any color that you would like, and this is where you're going to be, you could use a ruler, and an important thing is to remember where the fold is, and the fold is very important in working with this project, and this is something that a child can learn. Now, we're going to be cutting some strips here in just a moment to make a warp, but we want to make sure that on this outside edge, you can really leave as much as you want, but you want to make sure you have about a ½ inch of space around the edge of your paper, because if you don't watch, you can also just cut right through it, and then you'd have to start over. So you can have children learn to measure or practice measuring, or you could with very young children, you could already have this drawn on there for them. And I have one that's drawn, and I want to show you. Maybe you'll be able to see this one a little better. I've gone over it with my marker. But this is an excellent practice for students, young children, to practice cutting skills, and this could be wavy as I've drawn it here, or you could make straight lines, any direction of line that you would like to. Now remember, this is the fold, and then these are the edges that you will not cut. So what you begin to do is just to take your scissors and cut along those lines. And for very young children, this is hard to do, but it's some great motor skill practice for children, and they're having fun at the same time. Okay, but you will go through and you will cut all of those lengths, and I have one already cut here to show you, and this of course is just some straight lines. Now when I open this up, what I have is called a warp. And this is like a loom that you're going to be weaving on. Now, very young children, this is difficult to do. It's a process of learning that over-under technique. I've already cut my strips, and you could have these already cut for your students, or you could have them cut them themselves. And you're going to start, doesn't matter if you start over or under. I'm going to start over, but I'm going over, and then I'm going under, over, under, over, under, over, and under. And then I'm going to kind of tuck that in close to the side. And then my next strip, I've cut up some craft paper, and it has a little bit of a design. I'm going to use that one for some variety. And the last one I started over on the top, and so I'm going to do the opposite. So this time I'm going to go under, over, under, over, under, and over, under, over, under, under and over. And you know, we as adults, we think, oh, that's easy to do. But if you get into a kindergarten classroom, this becomes a whole new world because they have not yet, many of them have not yet gotten that concept of this over-under. But what you'll do, you'll go ahead and fill in your entire sheet with your strips. And one of the suggestions I would have is not to glue these strips down until after you're finished. When you're finished, then you can kind of place them in a good spot so that they're evened out. And then what you will do is just take your glue and glue the top and underneath here the bottom of each of these strips, and you have what's called a weaving. Now the strips that we wove in and out is called your weft, W-E-F-T, and so you can get in some of your weaving terms in this project. This type of weaving, just the over-under, is called a tabby weave and really makes some great projects. You can use all kinds of strips and colors to create your designs like this. Here's some that students have done, and now I've laminated these. Sometimes we do laminations like this. We do maybe fall colors and use them for placemats, or red and green for a Christmas placemat, but they can be used for many different things, you know, for the children to take home. Now this one is just a plain square. Here's one in red, a little bit smaller. This one, this student used some curving design, and it's almost an optical illusion, but just a really neat project. They used two colors there. Now this student used 3 different colors, and that created just a completely different design. And I want to show you this one. This one has a little bit more variety to it. I've used a blue construction paper, and the weft part, the pieces we wove in and out, was from scrapbook paper, and then went back and just cut out some dots and placed them in different locations just for some design. And so that's, I also used my craft scissors, which gave me a little bit of a design, a zigzag design on that side. So that's something that you can do that will add some variety to your weaving. Now you can also do some other things. This is a fall project. They were talking about leaves for the fall, and what they did, now they folded it like this. This was laminated, so I can't really show you too much, but they folded it in half, and of course you can't get too close to the sides, but that created a really neat design. I love this one. This one is a pumpkin, and went through and did the weave, and then the eyes and the mouth and the little stem and leaf were added later. Maybe you can kind of see that over here. But that's a really neat design. Probably your upper grade students would do that. You could even do something like this for Valentine's. Your warp is made in the shape of a heart, and then you take your small weft strips of pink and weave them in and out, and then added a little bit of a paper heart. Now this, because you're really weaving into some really small areas, would be something an upper grade student would need to do. But these are wonderful projects. You can work on your over-under practice, great for small motor skills in cutting, and working with color schemes. You could talk about color schemes that you can use. It's really a great project for all ages, and I think this is something that you will enjoy.